Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're doing something a little bit different today.
Yeah, definitely different.
Usually we take a look at history or we analyze a business trend in the abstract. But today, we are planting our feet firmly in the right now.
Very firmly.
It is late February 2026, and we are looking at an industry that is effectively the soundtrack to our lives. We're talking about the music industry. But not just, the songs you're humming along to. We're talking about the machine behind the melody.
It is a fascinating and honestly almost vertigo-inducing time to be having this conversation.
Vertigo-inducing is the perfect way to put it.
Because if you look at the stack of sources we've gathered for this deep dive, and for you listening, we're pulling from everything from Spotify's loud and clear financial reports from late 2025 to sociological studies on lyrical content to legal briefings from the DOJ.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, very. And when you put it all together, you realize we are standing at a very specific, very precarious crossroads right now.
Exactly. And to get us into the right headspace, I want to try a visualization exercise with you.
Okay, let's do it.
So I want you to picture something with me. It's a Tuesday morning, right now, February 2026. Imagine you're the CEO of a major record label.
So a Universal or a Sony or Warner.
Right. You walk into your office, you've got your artisanal coffee, you sit down at that massive glass desk overlooking the city. What are you actually looking at on your screen?
Oh, you certainly aren't just looking at the Billboard charts anymore. That's the old world. Those are vanity metrics now.
Right. You're looking at stock prices that are now inextricably tied to streaming rate hikes.
Yep.
You're reviewing a stack of terrifying legal briefings for the massive Department of Justice antitrust trial against Live Nation that's kicking off.
It was huge.
Massive. And here's the kicker, the thing that's really ruining your morning coffee.
Yeah.
You are probably listening to a track that's going absolutely viral on social media.
Yeah.
And it sounds exactly like your biggest star.
Uncannily like them.
It has their cadence, their tone, their unique flow. But your star didn't sing it.
No.
They didn't even know it existed until 10 minutes ago.
Huh.
A kid in a bedroom produced it using Suno AI or Udio in about 30 seconds.
And that right there is the core tension we need to unpack today.
Yeah.
The industry is currently suspended between two massive opposing forces. On one side, you have this technological revolution, this explosion of AI, generative audio, and algorithmic dominance.
Right.
And on the other side, you have a human revolution.
Which is getting loud.
Very loud. It's a genuine crisis of exploitation, mental health, and really a fight for the very soul of what it means to be an artist in 2026.
So our mission today is to trace that arc. We're going to go from the days of physical products, you remember the plastic disc?
Barely.
Right. All the way to the algorithmic feed, and finally to where we are right now, which is what the sources call the post-verification era.
That phrase, post-verification era, that is the key takeaway here.
Huh?
We've moved from a time where the struggle was accessing music.
Finding the song you wanted.
Exactly. To a time where the struggle is authenticating it.
Is it real?
Is what you're hearing real? Is it human? And does that distinction even matter to the listener anymore?
That is a scary question, and we are going to answer it. But before we get to the robots taking over the charts, we kind of have to understand how we broke the business model to understand how we're trying to fix it.
We need to rewind.
Let's go back to what some might call the good old days.
Well, depending on who you ask, they were either the good old days or the days of absolute, unmitigated excess.
Fair point.
Yeah.
We're talking about the CD boom, roughly 1984 to 1995.
Right.
I have such vivid memories of this. You'd walk into a Tower Records or a Virgin Megastore. It was an event.
You'd spend $18 on a plastic disc because you liked one song you heard on the radio.
One song.
And the economics of that transaction were staggering. The profit margins on that plastic disc were above 30%.
Which is unheard of now.
Unheard of. You have to understand, the industry executives at this time were notorious for frivolous spending because the money just kept rolling in.
It was a physical product economy.
Exactly. You controlled the manufacturing, you controlled the distribution trucks, and crucially, you controlled the gatekeeping. If you didn't ship the CD to the store, the audience couldn't hear the music. Period.
It was a total monopoly on distribution. And then 1999 hits. The party crashes.
Napster.
The peer-to-peer revolution. I feel like everyone listening probably has a memory of the first time they saw a file-sharing program.
It felt like magic.
It really did. You type in a name, and suddenly the song is there on your hard drive. But for the industry, this wasn't magic. It was a horror movie.
It was an economic cataclysm. Just look at the numbers from our sources.
Yeah.
U.S. revenues dropped from a high of $14.6 billion in 1999.
$14.6 billion.
That was the absolute peak, and it dropped down to $9 billion by 2008. That is a free fall. The industry lost more than a third of its value in less than a decade.
And their response wasn't exactly innovative.
Yeah.
It was panic.
It was a litigious panic. They tried to sue their way out of a technological problem. The RIAA sued roughly 35,000 individuals for file sharing.
And we aren't talking about massive bootlegging operations here. We aren't talking about guys in warehouses burning fake CDs to sell out of a trunk.
No, and this is where it became a PR disaster that the industry is arguably still recovering from culturally.
Yeah.
They were suing single mothers. They sued a 13-year-old girl.
Which is just a terrible look.
It was awful. They were trying to stop the tide with a spoon. They failed to realize that the consumer had tasted unlimited access, and the specific compression technology of the MP3 meant that music had become liquid.
Liquid. I like that.
You cannot put that genie back in the bottle.
And amidst all that chaos, the format wars started shifting. We went from the album, the bundle, to the track.
That's the unbundling effect. This is a crucial economic concept from the research. iTunes comes along with the 99-cent song.
Right.
Suddenly, you didn't have to buy the whole $18 CD to get the hit. You just bought the hit.
That destroyed the economic model of the album filler.
Completely. You know those 10 songs on the CD that weren't very good, but you paid for anyway?
Yeah, that revenue evaporated overnight.
Gone.
There is a detail in the research that I completely forgot about, but it's so funny in retrospect. The ringtone era.
Oh, absolutely. We often skip over this, but for a brief shining moment in the mid-2000s, ringtones and mobile full tracks were a massive revenue stream.
I remember this. People were paying $2 or $3 just to have a 30-second low-quality clip of a 50-cent song play when their phone rang.
It was actually a lifeline for the labels before smartphones and streaming fully took over. It kept the lights on.
But then the real savior, or the villain, depending on your perspective, arrived. Spotify.
Founded in 2006, launched in the US in 2011. This was the shift from ownership to access.
Right. You don't own the CD. You don't even own the MP3 file on your hard drive anymore.
You are renting access to the library.
And the pitch Daniel Ek made to the labels was brilliant. He basically said, I have a product better than piracy.
And it worked. The freemium model. You give people a legal, convenient way to listen for free with ads, or a low monthly fee for premium.
And suddenly, piracy isn't worth a headache.
Exactly. It's not worth the viruses and broken links.
So fast forward to where we are now, looking at the data from late 2025 and early 2026. How big is this beast?
It is colossal. According to the Spotify Loud and Clear report from 2025, they have 751 million monthly active users.
751 million.
And 263 million of those are paying subscribers.
That is a staggering amount of people. That's more than the population of the United States and Brazil combined.
And the money is flowing. Spotify paid out $10 billion to the industry in 2024 alone.
$10 billion.
So the revenue is back. The industry has recovered its 1999 peak in nominal terms.
Okay.
But, and this is the big but, the distribution of that revenue and the culture it has created,
that's where things get complicated.
extremely complicated.
Let's unpack that culture.
Yeah.
Because one thing that stood out to me in the research is how the way we listen has fundamentally changed. It's not just about, I love this band, I'm going to listen to their album. It's about utility.
Right. We have entered the era of functional music.
Like lo-fi beats to study to.
Exactly. Music is no longer just a marker of identity like wearing a punk t-shirt to show who you are. It is a tool for mood regulation.
Mood regulation.
You use music to focus. You use music to sleep. You use music to manage anxiety.
It's almost like a pharmaceutical.
In a way, yes. And the data supports this. There was a fascinating study by Music's Match that analyzed 25 years of Billboard lyrics.
What did they find?
They found a 13 percentage point jump in anxiety themes since the early 2000s.
A 13-point jump. So pop music is statistically getting sadder.
Much sadder. And more anxious. The biggest song of 2025 wasn't a party anthem. It was a melancholy ballad by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars.
Why do you think that is? Is the world just sadder, or is the industry pushing it?
It's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
This is the danger of the algorithmic era. The algorithms, like Spotify's Discovery Mode, TikTok's For You page, they detect that listeners are anxious, lonely, or depressed.
Based on what they click.
Right. So to keep you listening, to keep retention high, the algorithm serves you sad music that validates those feelings.
Okay.
The industry sees the data that sad music is streaming well, so they sign and produce more sad music.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of gloom.
Ah.
The machine feeds us sadness because we are sad, which makes us sadder, so we consume more sadness.
Precisely. And it leads to a homogenization of culture. Have you heard of the 30-second rule?
This is about skipping tracks, right?
Yes. On streaming platforms, a stream generally doesn't count towards royalties unless the listener stays for at least 30 seconds. Plus, the algorithm punishes songs with high skip rates. If people skip your song in the first 10 seconds, the algorithm buries it.
So you have to catch them immediately.
Exactly. So producers and songwriters have engineered songs to hook you immediately. There is no time for a slow intro, no time for a gradual buildup. You hit the chorus in the first 15 seconds.
So we are losing the stairway to heaven intros. We're losing the slow burn.
We are losing patience. It's a flattening of culture. Complex, slow-building music is marginalized because it's skippable.
That's really sad.
It is. But here in 2026, we are seeing the backlash.
The discovery fatigue.
Yes. People are tired of the echo chamber. There is a trend now toward human curation. People want a person to tell them what's good, not a code, because the code just gives them more of what they already consumed.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room. The code isn't just curating anymore. The code is creating. Let's talk about the AI revolution and this post-verification era.
This is the defining struggle of 2026. If the Napster era was about fighting for access, the 2026 era is about fighting for authentication.
And the numbers are just wild. Daily uploads to streaming services jumped from around 100,000 tracks a day to nearly 300,000.
Yeah.
That's not humans suddenly getting 3 times more productive. That's generative AI.
It's a flood. It is a tsunami of content. And the industry's reaction has been fascinating to watch over the last 2 years.
Right, because initially they fought it.
Back in 2024 and 2025, we saw the major labels, Universal, Warner, Sony sue the AI startups like Suno and Udio.
They tried the Napster playbook.
Sue them into oblivion. They argued that these AI models were trained on copyrighted music without permission.
But it did play out the same way as Napster, did it?
No. By early 2026, the strategy pivoted. It went from kill it to monetize it. The labels realized they couldn't stop the technology. The open source models were already out there, so they negotiated equity stakes and revenue sharing agreements with these AI companies.
There's a quote in the research that sums this up perfectly. The labels feared being on the menu, so they fought to get a seat at the table.
That's the corporate survival instinct. If you can't beat them, own a piece of them. Although, notably, Sony Music is still holding out on the legal battle as of February 2026.
The only ones.
They're taking a harder line, but the others have folded the tech into their business model.
We've also seen the rise of digital twins. Remember the Heart on My Sleeve track? The one with the AI Drake and The Weeknd that went viral.
That was the watershed moment. That track, by a user named Ghostwriter, proved that an AI deepfake could be a smash hit.
It sounded so real.
It sounded better than the real thing to a lot of people. It forced the industry to come up with a solution. And the solution is licensed AI.
So now you have artists like Grimes who are actually leaning into it.
Right. Grimes allows fans to use her AI voice, her elf tech, to make songs, provided they split the royalties 50-50.
That's a fascinating model.
It turns the artist into a platform. You aren't just listening to Grimes, you are using the Grimes instrument to create content.
But AI isn't just about deep faking vocals, it's also this invisible assistant, right?
That's the less sexy but perhaps more impactful side. AI as the admin sidekick. Stem separation, taking a mixed song and splitting it back into drums, bass, vocals, is now perfect.
Why is that important? I mean, why does the listener care?
It allows for infinite remixing. You can take an old 1970s recording where the master tapes are lost, separate the instruments, and mix it for Dolby Atmos.
Oh, wow.
It's keeping the catalog alive, also smart mastering, optimizing release dates based on predictive analytics.
A hybrid hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's rarely AI versus human anymore. It's humans using AI for the beat, or the harmony, or the mixing. The lines are completely blurred.
But while the tech companies and the major labels are making deals and counting their equity, what about the humans? the actual songwriters and performers.
This is where the picture gets darker. We have to talk about the wealth gap.
Yeah.
There is a myth that the internet democratized music. And sure, it democratized distribution. Anyone can upload a song. But it didn't democratize wealth.
The revenue is concentrated at the very, very top.
Heavily. The top 1% of artists generate 90% of the streams.
90%.
And worse, the pool is being siphoned off by fraud. We need to talk about streaming farms. This is the industrialization of fraud.
I've heard about this. Warehouses full of phones.
Sometimes. Or just server farms running bots. They stream AI-generated tracks on loop 24/7. Because the royalty pool is a zero-sum game, every dollar that goes to a bot farm is a dollar taken away from a real human artist.
Wait, explain that zero-sum part. I think that's crucial for you listening to understand how the money actually moves.
Sure. Spotify operates on a pro rata model. They take all the money earned in a month, put it in a big pot, and divide it by the total number of streams.
Okay.
So if I create a bot farm that generates 10 million fake streams, I am increasing the denominator. I am taking a slice of that pie. That means the slice for the real artist gets smaller.
Because the pot didn't get any bigger.
Exactly. Estimates suggest this is siphoning about $1 billion annually from the royalty pool.
That is infuriating. $1 billion. That could support an entire middle class of musicians.
And that lack of a middle class is hurting young creatives. There's a report from Youth Music called Just the Way It Is. The stats are grim. 90% of young creatives report unfair pay. 72% report unsafe work environments.
That is unacceptable.
It is, but there is a glimmer of hope. They call it the Ray effect.
Named after the British artist Ray.
Yes. She famously fought her label for creative and financial freedom. She was stuck in a contract where they wouldn't let her release her album.
I remember that.
She went independent, released My 21st Century Blues, and found massive success. Young artists are looking at her and realizing they don't have to accept the status quo. They are demanding transparency.
And speaking of demanding transparency, we have to talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the live music space. The Live Nation antitrust trial.
This is the big news right now. February 2026. The DOJ lawsuit against Live Nation is heading to trial.
What's the core allegation here? Why is the government involved?
Flywheel.
The flywheel.
The government alleges that Live Nation uses its dominance in ticketing via Ticketmaster to coerce artists and venues. If you want to play this venue, you have to use our promoter. If you want to use our promoter, you have to use our ticketing service. It stifles competition.
And for artists, touring is their lifeline.
Exactly. Streaming pays fractions of a cent. Literally 0.003 to $0.005 per stream. You can't pay rent on that unless you have millions of streams. Touring is where the rent gets paid. So if one company has a monopoly on your primary income source, you feel trapped. Artists are watching this trial very closely.
So we have a consolidated live industry, a consolidated streaming industry.
Very consolidated.
But, ironically, the culture of music is becoming less consolidated. Let's talk about globalization.
This is the most exciting part of the 2026 landscape. The Western-centric era of pop music is effectively over. We are seeing the end of the monoculture.
We are seeing genres from all over the world dominating the US charts.
Afrobeats is the prime example. It's no longer a niche or world music. It is a dominant force. Artists like Burna Boy or Tyla aren't just big in Africa. They were selling out stadiums in London and New York.
It's amazing.
But it's not just that. We are seeing goo come from South Africa. Afro rave.
And one that I've been hearing everywhere on TikTok, Brazilian funk.
Brazilian funk is fascinating. It's this aggressive, high-energy mix. It takes the funk sound, which is this distorted, cowbell-heavy hip-hop from the American South, and mixes it with Brazilian funk rhythm.
It's wild.
It's chaotic, it's loud, and it's perfect for short-form video.
It wakes you up.
It does, and the data backs this up. The number of artists generating over $100,000 on Spotify who record in languages other than English has doubled since 2017.
Doubled.
Artists are recording in over 50 languages now at that income level.
And export success is huge.
Massive. Over 50% of artists generating at least $10,000 on Spotify make the majority of their money outside their home country. Music has truly become borderless. The language barrier is gone.
But how are people finding this stuff if the algorithms are pushing the same old sadness?
This is the bifurcation of discovery. We are seeing a split. On one side, you have the algorithmic, listener passive, lean back, let the playlist run.
Mood regulators.
Right. On the other side, you have the community-driven listener. They are on Discord, they are on social radio, they are actively hunting for new sounds in niche communities.
This split in discovery methods is really the key to understanding where the money is going in the future, right? Because if you're a passive listener, you're just generating fractions of a cent. But if you're a community listener,
that's where the wallet opens. And this leads us directly into the microeconomy model that we're seeing take over in 2026. The entire strategic focus for smart artists has shifted. It used to be volume, how do I get 1 million streams? That was the holy grail. Now it's, how do I get 100 superfans? It's quality over quantity.
Let's break down the math on that, because I think it's counterintuitive for people who grew up thinking millions sold was the only metric that mattered.
Ideally, think about the streaming math we just discussed. If you get 1,000 streams on Spotify, after the label takes their cut, after the distributor takes their cut, you might end up with $3 to $5 in your pocket.
Wow.
You literally cannot buy a fancy coffee with the proceeds of 1,000 people listening to your art.
Which is depressing.
It is. But flip the model. If you have 100 superfans, people who love what you do, who are in your Discord, who feel a connection to you, and they subscribe to your Patreon or your dedicated artist app for $10 a month.
Okay.
That is $1,000 a month. That is a living wage in many parts of the world.
Yeah.
You have bypassed the gatekeepers.
So we're going to see more direct-to-consumer stuff.
D2C is king. This is the biggest advice industry managers are giving in 2026. Own your data.
Own your data.
Owning the email list or the SMS list is infinitely more valuable than having 1 million TikTok followers or Instagram likes.
Because those platforms are rented land.
Exactly. They are subject to platform decay. TikTok could get banned. We've seen the threats for years. Or the algorithm could change tomorrow to favor 10-minute videos instead of 30-second ones, and suddenly your engagement drops to 0.
Right.
But an email list, that is yours. It's portable. It's a direct line of communication that no CEO can turn off.
And this data ownership isn't just about selling t-shirts. It fundamentally changes how tours are booked, right? We're seeing this concept of micro-touring.
Yes, and this is saving artists' mental health. The old model was brutal. Get on a bus, drive to 30 cities in 40 days. You play Des Moines on a Tuesday night to an empty room because you have no idea if you actually have fans there. But the routing agent said it was on the way to Chicago.
Sounds exhausting.
You lose money on gas, you burn out, you get sick.
And now?
Now you look at the dashboard, you pull up your Spotify for Artists or your Apple Music data, you see a heat map, you say, oh wow, I have a weirdly high cluster of fans in Lagos, Nigeria, and another cluster in Mexico City, and a decent following in London.
So you don't drive to Des Moines?
No. You book a micro-residency, you fly to London, you book a small club for 3 or 4 nights in a row, you market directly to those fans on the heat map.
That's brilliant.
You sell out every night, you keep costs low because you aren't moving a bus every day, you maximize revenue, and then you go home. It's smarter, not harder. It's touring with a sniper rifle instead of a shotgun.
It makes so much sense. It feels like the industry is finally using the data for the artist's benefit rather than just the label's benefit. Speaking of data and tech integration, we can't ignore the partnership that's rolling out right now between Spotify and OpenAI.
This is a huge shift in the user interface. We've had Smart Shuffle and algorithmic playlists for a while, but this integration brings music recommendations directly inside ChatGPT and conversational AI.
How does that actually look for the user?
It turns the discovery process into a conversation. Instead of searching for a genre, you can talk to the AI. You can say, I'm feeling really nostalgic for the summer of 2016, specifically that upbeat pop sound, but I want songs I haven't heard a million times.
Wow.
And the AI builds a playlist based on that specific, nuanced prompt.
It's almost like having a really knowledgeable record store clerk in your pocket.
That's the goal, to bring back that human feeling curation, but powered by the most advanced LLMs on the planet. It's trying to solve that discovery fatigue we talked about earlier.
And of course, all this new tech costs money. We have to talk about pricing. For the longest time, Spotify was $9.99. That number was sacred.
And that number is dead. We are firmly in the era of pricing overgrowth. For a decade, the strategy for Netflix, Spotify, all of them was get as many users as possible, even if we lose money.
Right, the hyper-growth phase.
No, saturation has hit. Everyone who is going to subscribe to music largely already has.
So the only way to make the line go up
is to charge more. We saw the hikes in 2024, 2025, and expect another one here in 2026. Paradoxically, these price hikes benefit the major labels more than the platforms.
Why is that? You'd think Spotify keeps the extra money.
Not with how the deals are structured. The major labels, Universal, Sony, Warner, have agreements where they take a percentage of the top-line revenue.
Ah, I see.
So if the subscription price goes up, the revenue pot gets bigger, and their cut gets bigger automatically via wholesale rate resets. They are the biggest winners of inflation in the subscription economy.
It always comes back to the labels winning, doesn't it?
The house always wins. They own the catalog. They own the history of music. You can't build a service without them.
So let's try to synthesize all of this.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We have infinite access to every song ever recorded. We have tools like Suno and Udio that can create a symphony in seconds.
Yeah.
We have a global audience where a kid in Brazil can make a hit that resonates in Tokyo. And yet
we are craving the human element more than ever. It is the great paradox of 2026. We have built machines that can create perfection. They have perfect pitch. They have perfect timing. They adhere perfectly to the mathematical rules of what makes a catchy hook.
But something is missing.
The human note, the glitch, the voice crack, the slight timing error that gives a drum beat swing, the heartbreak that you can hear in the breath between the lyrics. That imperfection is becoming the most valuable commodity in a world of automated perfection.
So the industry has shifted from being a gatekeeper deciding who gets into being an ecosystem.
Exactly. And in an ecosystem, survival isn't about going viral for 15 seconds. That's a flash in the pan. Survival is about sustainability through ownership. Owning your masters, owning your data, owning your relationship with your fans. That is the only way to survive the flood of AI content. If you rely on the algorithm, you will eventually be replaced by a bot that can feed the algorithm faster and cheaper. If you rely on your fans, you are irreplaceable.
It brings up a really provocative thought to leave our listeners with today. We've talked about business and tech and law, but deep down, this is about art.
I think about this constantly. If machines can create beauty, and they can, we have to admit that some AI music is objectively beautiful, and if they can create perfect harmonies...
What becomes of the human need to create meaning?
Right. A robot can write a sad song. It knows which minor chords trigger a sad response in the brain, but it can't feel sadness.
Right.
It can simulate the symptoms of heartbreak, but it cannot experience the cause. It has never lost a loved one, has never had its heart broken. It creates from a database, not from a soul. The future of this industry doesn't depend on the next tech breakthrough or the next copyright law. It depends on whether society, whether you, the listener, values authenticity over automation.
When you hit play, do you care that a human soul is on the other end of that speaker? Or do you just want a pleasant sound to work to?
That is the question. And I think as we look at the rise of live music, superfans, and community, the answer is leaning toward humanity. We want to connect.
As you scroll through your playlist today, ask yourself, who or what are you listening to? And does it matter?
It matters more than ever.
Thanks for diving deep with us into the noise and the signal. We'll see you in the next one.